Sorry. Carlos?
with Tito Vito and Tito Nelly and Tito Kathy, Tito Justin. There's just so many. There's so many names. You know, and Mama, I promised Mama a very specific eulogy, and I'll try to do it quick. For our friends who are visiting us, you might know this, but when Filipino people from the islands get together, they love to sing. There's karaoke. And our family, we're from a very small island, so that means we really, really love to sing. And Mama was a singer. That was who she was before she even met Papa. So imagine if life was a little bit different and you think of the great stars of the Philippines, the vaudeville stars, the old music of Yulita Corrales and Silvia La Torre and Nora Anor and Cathy de la Cruz, and next to those names in big lights, Carmen Alcantara. Life could have been like that, as they're from a musical family. Rohing, also an excellent singer, just like Willie Nelson. They could have been the Partridge family of Catanduanes, but instead of a bus, it would probably be a jeepney or something. But if Mama had a lead single, it would be the song that she would sing often in the last few years called It's Hard to Depart. And the first line, and this is the first time I'm singing in front of you all. You said, you need to sing something when we have karaoke. And it starts, it's hard to depart. That's how it starts. And it sounds like a traditional Tagalog or Filipino, it's an English love song of Kundiman. And we Filipinos love music so much that there's a subgenre of music called Kundiman, which is, they say, the theory is that it's from Kundiman. If it's not so, it's a lament song. It's about loneliness, it's about wanting something and never having it, but hoping for it. And that's what I thought that It's Hard to Depart was, but I recorded Mama singing it, and she told me that it was written by her teacher, and Mr. Mendoza. And the last line of this song is, and goodbye, my dear classmate, until we meet again. Right? It's a song about the end of the school year and how sad it is for the school year to end, but we can look forward to the next school year. And Mama, though, would always tell her grandkids, I only had a 4th grade education, and I cherished every single day of the education we had. She would say, all the kilometers I walked, so many kilometers, even if there was a bagyo, a hurricane, there's no exception. And I remember I would be little and Papa would be sitting there and Mama would say, so many kilometers, and Papa being a foreman said, there's too many kilometers you're talking about. You're making up that number. You could add all these kilometers in one day as if you could walk from Legazpi to Manila. But she was trying to make a point about all of the work that she did for us so that we could be here. So she didn't become a famous singer, but she was our grandmother, and we wouldn't be here if it weren't for her. Mama also told me that she wanted to be a teacher, a history teacher at that. But life got in the way too for that. Tito Santi mentioned the war, and she would tell me about how the harvest would come. We had to work. There was always a crisis. That sometimes our Mama thought, there's always a crisis. She was really that kind that worried about everyone, for everyone. She was the most compassionate woman. She would talk about how to get all the camotes, and I had to carry them on my back. Everything we did. And like Papa, she was also a builder, just in a different way, and she faced many risks. She started the rice mill. She took a big risk. She was a small businesswoman. She was a successful one. She's also kind of a machinist, because if you know how a rice mill works, you have to fill it with gasoline to get her kids to step on the thing. And that helped send everyone to college. That also took away her singing voice. The exposure, pollution from the rice mill. She lost her range, so much so that when I know when my dad and Tito Santi were in college, she had to go to Manila. There was talk of her wanting to see a doctor so that she could somehow regain the range of her voice. Because, when Papa died and she was crying a lot, and we were all there, we were sitting with her, talking about, Mama, tell us some stories about singing. And suddenly she would smile, this kind of smile I hadn't seen since I was a kid. And she says, one time, it was Easter, and I was singing. And Babai, her father, he had the guitar and the violin. And what's the song? And the song was Reina si Militare Alleluia. All right, and she said, and I sang and I sang and I sang, and everyone looked at me and they said, Carmen is singing. And I was an angel. And she was actually dressed as an angel, and she was brought down onto the stage, and she could see everyone cheering for her. That's what she held in her heart. And we knew that was her spirit, even if she wasn't able to be perhaps the singer that she wanted to be. And besides that, she did laundry, and she cleaned the dishes, and she had customers, and she told me she would be crying all the time, but it would be interrupted by more customers. And she raised 9 children. She said we're lucky, but it's only because of her love and her labor. And just literally was a lot of labor because she had 9 children. And so there was a lot of time spent in labor. There's often this talk of the silent needs of our hearts. We have intentions, and I always believed that Mama worried so much and she was so compassionate because her kids, she knew, she could hear all the silent needs of their hearts, even though we perhaps didn't tell her everything, but she could hear them. And it probably sounded like the rice mill, or every sort of song, or the sound of the ocean in Bagalanok facing the sea. And they would run through her head, and that would motivate her to seek out the best for us. And so, I want to dedicate, as I promised Mama, her memory to everyone here. Who's like Mama. Dedicate her memory to every mother and aunt and Nina and sister and daughter here and in our hearts, especially Mama's youngest granddaughters and her great-granddaughters and our newest granddaughter who was able to see her. Little Ella was not even a year old, and she was able to meet her 94-year-old grandmother. And her great-grandchildren from the Philippines to Michigan. And especially to thank Janina and Tita Helen for taking care of her every day for so long. See, when Mama was a young girl, she didn't have many choices, but she worked to have them. Because she had the kind of sacrifice that only a mother can provide. This is the silent needs of our heart she sought. And she did so that you could find your own voice and move to your own rhythm and learn what every song you desire and sing with confidence and live a full life that you choose. And if you're ever worried or scared or you're halted by anxiety, you don't need to fear so much because Mama's there singing with you. She'll always be with us. Mama, say hi to Papa for us. And when you say, Agadoy Pedro, you have to be careful because St. Peter might actually show up.